Okie dokies, guys. I think we can all agree that it's getting crazy out here with all this feminism, red pill, green pill, blue pill, toxic masculinity, toxic femininity. Well, I want to talk about two women who are responsible for how we have ended up in this chaos. Two key events that we were all part of. You may even have participated in that led us to where we are right now. And I'm talking especially to my ladies, but also to my gents, because this is something that affects all of us. And I'm talking about Cardi B and I'm talking about Meg the Stallion. Because if we're being honest, if you really think about this, and I like to do this, guys, you guys know on this channel, I like to go back and think, how did we get here? How did we get to this point with this thing, right? I like to do that. You guys know I like to do that. And I was thinking about, first of all, Savage hit me. You know Savage because I'm a savage. Nasty, bougie, ratchet. Yeah, imagine. I would have never thought that I would be saying those lyrics so casually, but that's because of this chain of events. But no, we'll be talking about Savage. That's going to come in part 2. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment your thoughts and be like, girl, you're right. But if you think I'm wrong, let me know as well. Don't forget to like the video, and of course, watch part 1, which in part 1 we're going to be talking about Cardi B and we're going to be talking about WAP, because I realized that these two songs pivoted us down further into darkness than I think we understood, and I think all of us in one way or another underestimated what was going to happen. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So Cardi B, WAP, if you don't know about this, I'm going to keep the way I'm talking about the song PG, right? But you know, wet and gushy, that's how they talk about it in the thing. But there's a rhyme, the word that rhymes with gushy. If you're over the age of 18, feel free to put 2 and 2 together to make 4. I want to talk about this because I remember when this came out, okay? Because I'm a human being as well. I just have to say this because I think sometimes when people like hear people saying what's not the popular narrative or what everybody else is saying, it's like, oh, well, you just don't understand what we went through, and you're just an alien, and you're just this, and you're just a Jesus follower. You don't understand. But I'll tell you guys how I felt. Let me start with how I felt about WAP, because I feel like WAP was like was before Savage. WAP prepared us for the Savage era, which, like I said, we'll talk about in the next video in part 2, which is going to come out the day after this video comes out. So make sure you come back to see it. Anyway, when WAP first came out, my personal feelings on it was like, first of all, and this is how you know I'm a real person, I was thinking, you know what? It's nice for women to actually be. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was nice, but it was almost like nice to hear a woman talking about us in a sexual manner, as opposed to how it genuinely is like men, like rappers doing it. And a lot of her lyrics as a woman are a lot more realistic and relatable to women than what a lot of these male people say in their songs, because, you know, obviously men and women, we're both different, we both experience stuff, including sex, differently. So I think the lyrics into WAP were a lot more like what like women actually can relate to, versus a lot of these rappers who just say a lot of stuff that's like, have you ever really pleased a woman before though? Maybe not, you know, I don't know. No judgment. Just saying, obviously we can only ever speak from our own perspective. And so I felt like, okay, this is interesting. It's nice that it's not just men always talking about us and blah, blah, blah. That's my initial thought, my initial feeling, okay? So I'm a human being too. I'm a human being. By the way, don't click off just yet. That's not where I ended up. I'm very much against WAP and whatnot, but I'm just keeping it real. So anyway, so as I was like, look at the song, obviously I knew it wasn't a song I was going to get into. Like, I downloaded it for like a minute and then I undownloaded it because I was like, listen, girl, you know you can't listen to this trash. Okay, yes, it was catchy. Yes, it made me feel like a whatever girl. Yeah, it was all fun and games. But in reality, it was very quick for me to be like, no, that doesn't sit right with my spirit. I'm not going to be listening to that. But the thing is, and so that was me. I think that what I experienced is what was like experienced by women, but like heavily amplified. So a lot of women were like, finally we get to talk openly about this stuff. Finally we get to speak from our experience. Finally we get to feel confident in being sexy. And I do think this is to the ladies. Hello ladies. Hey girl. Hey. There is a sex. I do think you have to feel confident to really feel sexy. I do believe that's a thing. And so I don't think that was wrong, but I think it's about what's happening where, and this is where the issues with WAP come from, because the reality is all of this confidence in your body, in everything, is happening in front of everybody. We're seeing ass shaking and all this stuff. We're seeing booties twerking, clapping, all this, everything, right? But it's for the whole world to see and for all of social media. And I think that's something we should be happy to do in the privacy and dignity of our home, with a man who has put a ring on your finger, not a guy who you are being a wife for, who treats you like a slave, who treats you like a side chick. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So that's not female empowerment doing that. And I think that's where we got it wrong. And that's where the thing that I did in my mind and with the Lord, and I thank the Lord, because only thanks to the Lord, to be honest with you, that I had to just catch myself and be like, no, 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 no. As catchy as the song is, as confidence building or whatever it is, and whatever the lyrics are, this is not productive, not for me. And even if I was to listen to that in my own place, I don't want to support that movement overall, because now I think that's really what started to lead us as women. Like, traditionally, I feel men talk more explicitly out loud about sex. And I think that's something to do with just the way men are. They're just a lot more like to the point, honest, blah, blah. We love that. I love that about men. But I think us women, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. And I hope you're having the best time with your man at home. I hope you're having the best time doing everything you're trying to do, even if you're doing every move in that dance video. I just think as women, we got to value ourselves. And loud stuff like this is what started to change the way we saw our value as women. You know, once upon a time, the value of a woman was like somebody who nobody who had been with, who was built off of what's this line by Cardi B? Yeah, she says, I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring, right? That's in the song in WAP. Also, of course, Meg Thee Stallion's in the song. So, you know, these two are like essentially the matriarchs of the destruction of femininity and women in society in this current age and era that we're living in. But yeah, I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring. Those types of lyrics. Now, I'm not saying you must prescribe to gender roles, and as a woman, you must do all the cooking and all the cleaning, because I honestly think in all relationships, you find balance for whatever suits you guys. Maybe you have a husband who really loves to cook. Maybe you guys, you know, a lot of couples nowadays, a lot of 2022 couples, you know, maybe the wife does want to cook because she feels like she wants to do that, but maybe the husband washes the dishes. Whatever you guys got going on, I'm not saying that line in of itself was problematic as far as women have to cook and clean, but tell you I got this ring. But it's like, it's like we're shifting. My question to people would be, where is our value in as a woman now? Because it seems like our only value is the word I was going to use, I'll use this word, is our bangability. That's how women are acting. We're acting like our bangability, our smashability is our value now. And that was the one thing we were acting like was what was objectifying us and making us seem like we were freaking pieces of meat. So I don't get it. I'm like, how do we go from we are being objectified, we are only seen as pieces of meat, we're only seen as these servants who have your kids, look after your homes, and are there for you to just play with and enjoy when you want. We kind of have put ourselves back in that same category. In fact, we've done worse, because now we haven't even made it worth it to actually make that commitment. And isn't it interesting how these Meg Thee Stallions, Cardi B's, and all these women are in relationships themselves? So I don't cook, I don't clean, let me tell you, I got this ring, but she's in a relationship with Offset. Obviously, there's all the cheating stuff. Meg Thee Stallion, all of this hot girl summer, hot girl, hot babe, blah, 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 right? It's all about the girls. I talked about this with the Beyonce Church Girl videos. Y'all should see that. Y'all should see, because I reviewed all them lyrics. So you should go and check that out. I reviewed all the lyrics. A lot of these women are speaking like about, oh yeah, it's all about female empowerment, all about your girls, it's all about girls, women, blah, 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 but they are with men. And then you are the woman listening to them who wants a man, and you can't get one because what they're doing is going to repel the type of man that would actually look after you, because you know what you're going to attract. And I kind of talked about this in the red pill versus toxic femininity video that I did, how, you know, those two movements are two sides of the same coin. When you become one of these hot girl summers, you're not going to attract a man who wants a wife. You're not going to attract a man who wants to respect you. You're going to attract a man who's like, yeah, I saw your cheeks clapping on Insta, and I want to see them cheeks clapping in my hands. That's the type of man you're going to find. And then guess what? After those cheeks is clapped, he's going to move on to the next cheeks he saw clapping on Instagram. Do you understand what I'm saying? But then we think this is female empowerment. This is me owning my body, my choice, my, like, can we So with this whole WAP thing, I just think, first of all, the title I've always found extremely triggering, because I just feel like we don't need to be referring to our genitalia in this manner. Like, ladies, come on now, okay? We don't need to be doing that. It's just a lot. I feel like it's just a lot, you know? And it's like, I feel like the way I understand, I know some of you are going to get triggered at this point, but just run with me here, right? If you've been running with me this far, just keep running with me. The way that I understand the woman in the Bible, like the way God describes women and the way he decides for us to be, it's like being the most precious, rarest, more sought after jewel in this entire world, right? That's how he is depicting how women should be valued and how women should be treated, right? And in fact, actually, I won't even quote the scripture in this thingy because I don't know it off by heart, and I'm not sure if it's the one I'm talking about. But anyway, so when we devalue ourselves to like, oh well, I'm just gonna put my, like, we gotta get to know each other, right? We gotta get to know each other. Us as women, we tend to be the more like a lot of guys. I'll say this for the girls out there. This is my observation for the ladies out there who really want some help. A lot of times men are opportunists, and we as women, we tend to overestimate what those men are going to do for us. As in, if you're going to offer it out, there's a lot, in this day and age, if you're just going to be offering yourself, you're just going to be splitting them legs, there's not a lot of guys who are going to just say no. But the thing is, you might assume, because this is what we do as women, this is kind of how our brain works, which is great when it's used in the right way, but it's horrendous when we are dealing with the opposite sex. Because I honestly think one of the biggest issues you have in society is that I think the biggest mystery we'll always have for women, our biggest mystery will always be men, and men, our biggest mystery will always be women, which is why I think we should actually spend more time trying to understand one another than just trying to fight to be understood ourselves. Because in reality, it's going to be hard for us because we function completely differently. That's biological. That's not just spiritual. That is biologically, men and women are different. In fact, I'll give you guys an example that actually has nothing to do with personality, although I've talked about this before. Did you know that men, to their muscle fibers, they have, I learned this literally yesterday, they have more, I think it's what are called red muscle fibers, which is why they're better with strength that is high weight, but also quick impact. Men are better with it, but down to the biology of their muscles, the construction of their muscles. Whereas we women, we have more of the white muscle fibers, which are better with more repetitions of a lower weight. We have more of an endurance-based type strength as far as our muscles, right? So that, even on a biological standpoint, right, when people are like, oh, but the Bible says that men and women are this. No, women are the weaker vessels, and they're literally weaker. We literally are not as strong. That doesn't mean we're in whatever else. But anyways, that's a side note. So even down to the biological standpoint, we are so fundamentally different. And that's why I think all of this, like, WAP and all this stuff, we are shooting ourselves in the foot because we don't understand that, yes, as a woman, you might not mind seeing a guy with all these girls on social media and then him marrying him. But from what I understand of how the male department works, a lot of men, that would be a deal breaker for them. And that's the thing. We're very talky now because of like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, all these people. We, as women, we talk our feelings all out there. We think everything's about us. We only get advice from our girlfriends and blah blah blah. And men nowadays, a lot of them are quite silent, because this is why, although I'm not a man and I do not pretend to ever understand what goes on in the male brain, because it still is a mystery to me, right? But what I can say is I've noticed that a lot of men don't feel necessarily comfortable to speak up, which is why sometimes I say stuff like I'm doing now, if I make certain observations, because I'm like, listen, if we're shooting ourselves in the foot, we've made it so that a lot of men don't want to speak up, then it's kind of an issue. And they're still going to do what they're going to do. Like, they're still going to see you on social media and just put you in the smash pile and not the wife pile. Do you know what I mean? They're still going to see you on social media, and maybe they were interested in you. Maybe you guys were liking each other, but then they saw the Snapchats you were posting of you and your girls out, and they realized, it's not really looking like a wife to me, man. Not really looking like whatever. And that's where I think the likes of these Cardi B's and this WAP really started us down that hill of, like, us being delusional as women, thinking that throwing our bodies around was ever any type of form for the world to see, was ever any form of self-love or self-value or whatever it is, confidence, or, but I don't know what we thought we were doing. I don't know what we thought, but we were wrong. Let's just put it like that. Whatever we were thinking, it was wrong. Because now we're in the place where I saw a video, and this is partially what's triggered me to make this video, was these two videos was this girl who put a picture. She was wearing like all fishnets, and she was posing like with her bum and her bottom of her body facing towards the camera in a car, and she was wearing like all fishnet, and you could like see her butt cheeks, blah blah blah. And people are like, and she got upset because she lost like a 6-figure brand deal, right? Now this is where you wonder how we get to here and how we actually get to thinking that this is even an issue worth talking about. It goes back to the stuff like WAP, and this is why I'm talking about this, because she's saying, well, if I'm putting my body out there, like why I shouldn't be cancelled, or I shouldn't be this, because this is, she tried to make it about race, which definitely wasn't about race. It definitely was about decency and the fact that a brand or a company is responsible for the type of people, the same way that when you go to work, when you're in a job, you represent your job, you know what I mean? So if they see you doing certain things, then it's going to affect the reputation of the company. That's true for brands as well. Brands, and this is what I keep saying to you. I said this to you guys in the video where I said being woke versus being awake. If you haven't seen that, go and watch that video. I talked about how a lot of these things that we're supporting nowadays, we think that the world is just going to shift for us, and it's actually a much smaller portion of the world who's actually for any of this nonsense than what we think it is. And a lot of the things, the opportunities we're going to need, especially if you're a younger person, the jobs you're going to want to work with, all the companies you're going to want to be a part of, are not going to hire you, are not going to support you, they're not going to care about your feelings when it comes to doing some of this type of stuff. Which is, so even if you don't care about the men, let's say you don't care about men at all, which I think is a lie, just like the lie of, oh, we dress for ourselves, we don't dress for guys. It's a lie, okay? It's a lie. Don't get me wrong, like there is a level to which we do, you know, look after ourselves for the sake of ourselves, and that's great. But a lot of the times girls will be definitely doing stuff just for guys, and then it's because, and I'll tell you how you can tell, because a lot of the women who say, oh, we don't do this for guys, we do it for ourselves, as soon as they get a guy, they stop making an effort. And then the guy's like, well, how come you don't dress up anymore? It's like, well, because I've got you now. And then it's like, oh, but I thought it wasn't about that. Yeah, so you guys get my point. But my point of all of this is, so this is why this issue, it goes much greater. So this girl even thinking that she had some kind of a point to her saying, oh, well, you guys, I lost a brand deal because they said that this picture was whatever. First of all, it's their business. The same way you have the right, or we have all these rights we're fighting for, to throw yourself, your body on whatever online, right? Is the same right that they have to choose who represents their company in a certain way or who doesn't. And the only reason we're living in this delusion, as though that there was ever something that you could argue about, is because of this stuff like WAP. And this is how it starts. This is why it's so important for me to talk about this stuff and to lay it out in front of you, because I always tell you guys that the things that happen, the darkness that's in the world, it doesn't happen like this. Satan does not show up as Satan, like, hey guys, here to destroy everything. No, he comes in as something seemingly okay. That's why I talked about with what I was talking about in the beginning, that, you know what, I kind of am glad that at least women are, you know, not taking charge of their bodies-ish, and it's kind of more relatable to women-ish, and it kind of is building confidence in women-ish. So there's kind of something there, although it really wasn't anything, as I could tell even then. But then as the time goes on, we go from WAP, and then we next find ourselves going down the road, right? And think about who was in the video. You had a Cardi B, right? So she's very much, you know, ex-stripper, this and that. And again, nothing against strippers, nothing against sex workers, nothing against any of that. I'm just saying. Then you got Meg Thee Stallion. It's all very sexual. I've said this many times before. How come us as women, how come, right, especially these female rappers, how come you can go to a male's concert and he will get on stage in a white t-shirt and jeans and a pair of trainers, yeah, and maybe like a watch and a chain or something, and it's fine. Us women have to be out here in like 8 different changes. Every single one of them is a thong. Every single one of them, our boobs are nearly falling out. We can basically see the top of our nipples. Everything is overly sexual. How come a man gets to... We are the ones who add to these problems. Why don't we get on stage and just dress normally? Why don't we get on stage and let our talent speak for ourselves? Because I find that more objectifying. The fact that we're always out here going the extra. Why, if you're a female rapper, I'm not saying be butch, I'm not saying be tomboy, I'm not saying that. You can still be a woman, you can still look good, you can still even, you know, wear something that shows your curves off a little bit or whatever. But why is it that we always have to be naked? Like, it's like we add to the thing, that it's almost like, I would love to know how many people would support somebody like Cardi B or somebody like Meg Thee Stallion if they didn't have the bodies they had, if they weren't doing all this sexual stuff. How many women would be supporting this stuff? I would like to know, because think about this. Look at all these BBLs and stuff we've got going on, because that's another thing. It's another thing. And even Nicki Minaj, I was watching her interview she did with Joe Budden. Great interview, because she basically is talking about how she feels she contributed to a lot of these issues, and she kind of regrets, you know, getting her surgery and stuff, but she felt the pressures to do so, whatever, right? How many women now are dying of BBL surgeries? Like, why are people women are dying. I saw a story like I think yesterday or the day before, like a 22-year-old girl died because of getting a BBL. Was it worth it just so you could shake her ass on a yacht in a thong in Dubai? Like, and by the way, I love Nella Rose, so that's no shade at Nella Rose, because I don't think she's not got a BBL anyway, so there you go. But you get the gist. Like, just for what? For Instagram, just for and this is why it's all very self-worshipy. Have you noticed we've become, it's us as women, we went from fighting for rights, like, which was all great, there was rights that were needed 100%, I was all behind that, and so were a lot of men as well behind, you know what, it's not fair that women don't get paid the fair amount, blah blah blah. But now we've moved over to where it's just like, well, what are we actually fighting for anymore? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what are we actually fighting for? Because now it just seems we just want to be able to get away with doing whatever and then still gain the benefits, as if there's these things are not transactional, as if a business deal, you being hired by a brand, is not a transaction. That means there's two people involved here, two people's opinions, two people who have rights. Like in a relationship, there's two of you in there. Yes, your husband has something, should, what he says and what he thinks, or a man wants to be with you, you should care about what he has to say in the same way he should care about what you have to say about him. But see how we're moving away from that? We've moved all the way into self-worship, where now it's just, I'm going to be naked online, listen to problematic music, get my nails did, hair did, BBL, lip filler, this, that, and the other, right? And people are going to worship me online. That's what it's become. And then I'm going to somehow think that by some stroke of, I don't know what idiotic thought process, you're going to end up happily married and with all this other stuff that you wanted, or working with the big brands you really want to work with. You see, even Molly May, people have issues with Molly May from the UK. She was on Love Island. Have you noticed that she is a lot more tasteful online? She actually took her lip fillers out, you know, and she is somebody who's getting 6-figure deals and 7-figure deals. She's making bank and she's making money. She's like 22 right now, right? And people get upset at her because she says about, oh, it's how she uses her 24 hours. Yeah, they're upset because she's hustling, and she's in a relationship, and they work together. They keep their stuff private. She's not out here showing everybody her cheeks and her flaps for the whole world to see. She's keeping that at home. Her and her partner working together. They're happy and they're thriving, right? She's doing her, she's making money, and she's not making money from having to be naked on Instagram. And I think this is where us as women, we're failing the younger generations. This is why I speak up about it. Trust me, guys, I say this all the time, and at the moment I say it to remind people that it would be so easy for me to talk about so many things that didn't matter, like so many things that would just get me like views, or would just appease what people want. I could easily sit here and have a Men Are Trash channel. Do you know how well I'd probably do if I started a channel called Men Are Trash? Do you know how well I would do? But you know, I don't do that because I actually care about you guys, and I actually want to see you guys win. I actually want to help us in society look back at where we went wrong so that we can do better the next time, because who knows what's coming next. I'll tell you what was coming next. Is what came next after that was Meg Thee Stallion and Savage, and the Savage Challenge on TikTok. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, and check out the next video, which is going to come out tomorrow, where I'm going to talk about how Meg Thee Stallion took us from, we were like here before WAP, and then we went down, and then Meg Thee Stallion Savage what came out, and then we were like boom. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this in a separate video. I may even talk about Hot Girl Summer. Y'all, if there's any songs, any points you feel were pivotal to how we got to where we are now, I kind of feel like this is the vibe I'm going for the videos now. Please send me, comment, let me know what you think, even whatever topic area is. Just put specific points, because I feel like now it's a time for reflection as well as a time for planning of, okay, well, what did we allow? What did we embrace too much? What was the reason? What were the little things that got us here? Because we never got into these positions overnight. It's little things that happened, little steps that we took, little things that we allowed, little tolerances that we had that ultimately brought us to where we are now. And I'm so sorry, ladies. I love every single one of you, and I really want you guys to live the life that God intended for you to have. But if we continue down this road, and this goes for the gentlemen too, because don't get me wrong, yes, I'm talking to the women specifically because I'm a woman, and I feel like instead of us as women bashing men, or men bashing women, like us women should speak to other women, right? And men should speak to other men, because that would actually help more than anything. So don't get me wrong, all of this stuff, whether it's the male side or the female side, it backfires on all of us. It backfires on all of us, because it doesn't help either men, because even men have said, and I've said this before, and I'll use this statistic to I've got two statistics that people would be surprised to know. The first statistic is that the married couples are the ones who are actually the most satisfied in their sex lives. That's a statistical fact, actual research. So married couples are the ones who are the most satisfied from sex of all the different combinations. And second of all, it's actually married couples, and I say this for the sake of the gentlemen out there, because a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but getting married and stuff, I'm giving up all this opportunity. Well, actually, you find that married men are having more sex because they have to put less work into getting somebody into bed in the first place. So, and if you learn how to please your lady and she's happy, as a lot of married men say, when she's happy, she gonna want to do it more. So anyway, see you guys in part 2, where I'm going to talk about Savage, right, and how that took us all downhill. Also, don't forget to check out my Beyonce. There's 2 videos where I went through her church girl lyrics, because that is the most blasphemous, demonic, destructive song I've ever heard from Beyonce, and she's had some bad songs out there. Let's see. And she's another one. What happened to classy? I said this in that video. What happened to classy Beyonce? Remember when she used to be all? She used to have all these Halo. I can feel Halo. Listen. What happened to all those songs? Now I'm gonna drop it like a thotty. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.